Coming up, UK gas prices are currently the highest in Europe, with some industry experts pinning the blame on the post-Brexit trading relationship with the EU. And in another plot development in Brexit the Disaster movie, Marks & Spencer's are now closing more than half of its stores in France due squarely to Brexit supply problems, and a quarter of small UK businesses have now suspended EU sales altogether due to post-Brexit rules. As even the Brexiteers abandon attempts to justify Brexit on economic grounds, in this video we take a closer look at where we are now with Brexit and how things are set to get a whole lot worse in the coming months. Stay tuned. If you enjoy these Truth to Power videos, please give us a like, subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new releases twice weekly. When Boris Johnson managed to cobble together a last-minute trade agreement with the EU back in December, he achieved it by backtracking, contradicting himself and sacrificing any sliver of credibility he ever had in order to stave off the threat of rebellion from Jacob Rees-Mogg's Brexit extremist group, the ERG. Amongst the literally thousands of lies that Boris Johnson has told about Brexit over the last 5 years, there was this classic, told after reaching the ramshackle deal. He described it as a deal which will, if anything, allow our companies and our exporters to do even more business with our European friends. Just think about that for a moment and let the implication of that statement sink in. A deal which will, if anything, allow our companies and our exporters to do even more business with our European friends. He's basically claiming that his Brexit deal was even better for trade than actually being in the European Union, the single market and the customs union. Yet he says it with a straight face and gets away with this obvious nonsense. Did anybody, even his own supporters, actually believe this crap? Most Brexiters I get verbally accosted by willingly admit that Brexit has damaged UK trade and hurt business, but they claim it's a price worth paying for sovereignty and taking back control of our laws. Though I've still yet to meet one of them that can define what they mean by sovereignty without just yelling meaningless slogans they've read about in the tabloids like taking back control or unelected bureaucrats in Brussels or happy British fish. Nor are they ever actually able to name an EU law that they objected to, let alone any of the scant 3% of EU laws of which the UK were not an enthusiastic proposer or supporter. Oh, other than the fictional one about bent bananas, Brussels had been warning all through the negotiations over the withdrawal agreement that the UK's stated objective of leaving the single market and the customs union would result in added costs and red tape, and indeed this has come to pass in spades. And the British government's website details the many changes for exporters and importers. Look, here's a quick screen recording I did of the government website covering post-Brexit exports and imports. And I'm only scratching the surface here. Not only are there pages and pages giving a broad overview of post-Brexit import and export requirements, but you'll see there are literally hundreds of hypertext links to other regulations, procedures, requirements, articles, checklists, forms, third-party websites, and other government web pages. I reckon it would take me weeks if not months to read every page and follow every link. And what did all this replace? What was on these pages before Brexit? Most Truth to Power regular viewers will already have guessed the answer. Nothing. Nada. Nix. Niente. Rien de tout. Ich null. The clues are in the names single market and customs union. What sort of an idiot would vote to destroy trade with Europe and burden the British economy with such admin and red tape? I know we shouldn't call them stupid, but, well, when it's your own business that's been financially hit by Brexit like mine, it's very hard. But it's not just small businesses like mine, and even worse my friend Michael Lambert's, who had to wind up his pan-European trading business. It's also the likes of Marks & Spencer, who a few days ago announced that they're closing more than half their stores in France due totally to Brexit supply problems. That's 11 Marks & Spencer stores, mainly in Paris, closing forever. In a statement, Marks & Spencer said that the supply chain complexities in place following the UK's exit from the European Union now make it near impossible for us to serve fresh and chilled products to customers to the high standards they expect, resulting in an ongoing impact to the performance of our business. M&S are referring, of course, to the new bureaucracy and controls in force since the beginning of 2021 and how they have hit exports to the EU. It's such an obvious cluster that even the dogmatic cabal currently occupying Westminster recognise the appalling harm it's doing to our exporters. In fact, they're so concerned that they've yet again delayed introducing checks on goods coming the other way sent from the EU to the UK. So as a result, the full impact of Brexit has been hidden by first the pandemic and secondly, the government now kicking the Brexit can down the road, with full Brexit import checks now delayed until at least March 2022. This has broken the international treaty that Johnson and the ignoramus and unelected Brexit minister Lordy Frost agreed to. But the EU has put legal action on pause, probably waiting to see the back of this incompetent and untrustworthy government in the hope that at some point they'll be replaced with a new one which actually keeps their word, honours agreements and has at least some understanding of either the EU or of international trade. Of course, Johnson and his stooge, Lord David Thickersmints, is blaming these delays on the pandemic. As Lord Mints himself vomited up, we want businesses to focus on their recovery from the pandemic rather than have to deal with new requirements at the border, which is why we've set out a pragmatic new timetable for introducing full border controls. But my question to this law-breaking idiot and his doting carer Boris Johnson is, if that's true, what sort of an idiot would have ploughed ahead with the Brexit agreement at the very height of the deadliest pandemic for 100 years, when the whole thing could have been delayed at least until after the pandemic? Now that the UK's pre-Brexit stocks in the supply chain have run low, we're seeing empty supermarket shelves, and the Bank of England is reporting that in the recruitment market, the pool of candidates is dropping at record pace, with many employers struggling to fill empty positions in the supply chain, in agriculture, in hospitality and in personal care. On top of that, we now have a shortage of carbon dioxide that is predicted to lead to shortages of meat, no turkeys at Christmas, a lack of chilled products and no fizzy drinks, with companies going bust and technicians and scientific staff being made redundant. Perhaps it's all part of a wider government plan to retrain them as lorry drivers. But seriously, how much longer can the Brexit liars and the lied to keep up the pretense that all these economic problems are the results of the pandemic when they are so precisely what Remainers were predicting 5 years ago, only to be denounced as Project Fear?
Welcome to the Brexit, sir. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.